Hello, so today we'll be going over a short 20-minute yoga routine that focuses on flexibility and stability in your body. Without further ado, here we go. Hope you enjoy. So we are going to begin in child's pose with our knees apart and feet together, resting our hands on the edges of our mat, stretching out our shoulders, ankles, hips, and relaxing our mind. This is a great moment to concentrate on deep, slow breathing, otherwise known in Sanskrit as Ujjayi breathing. Taking our last couple of breaths from this position before we begin to move. Now preparing to walk both hands over to the right, stretching out our left side of our body. You can web your fingers, meaning you can be on your fingers and stack your left hand on top of your right hand for a deeper stretch. Slowly begin to walk your hands over to the other side, this time stacking your right hand over your left hand and stretching off your right hand side. Now returning back to center before sliding your right hand through and resting your right shoulder and right ear on the ground for a bit of a shoulder stretch. Despite it being more difficult in this twisted position, remember to breathe from here and all the other poses as well. Swapping over, right hand stretches out in front and then the left shoulder and ear rests on the ground, stretching off the other side. Once again, breathing deeply from here and letting your thoughts wash away in this practice. Slowly unraveling back to child's pose before coming up and tucking your toes under and sitting back on your heels. So a great toe stretch, especially if you do a lot of walking or running. Now just circle your shoulders backwards a couple of times before going forwards as well. Getting some mobility here while stretching your toes. Now lift up your wrists and start rotating them, both one way and the other way. This is good for all the phone use we have or when you're typing at a desk. Now flexing your fingers both directions before shaking them out and then pressing our palms together, and after this flipping it downwards as well. Resting the other side of our hands together and once again flipping this upwards, getting a deep stretch, warming our wrists up. Shake them off again. Should feel it quite a bit in your toes at the moment. Now we're going to do a shoulder stretch, so right arm goes up, and if you can grab the bind with the left hand, otherwise just support the right arm with the left arm. Swapping over, left arm goes behind, And if you can, grab the bind with your right hand this time, otherwise remain supporting the arm with your right hand. Now just relaxing, coming to tabletop, unwinding those toes, maybe just tapping them gently against the ground to get the blood back through, and moving backwards and forwards in your own time, breathing with the movement and stretching out your shoulders and hips or any other tensions you have in your body through this movement. Now doing cat and cows, so inhaling to the cup, exhaling to do cat, cow, inhale, exhale, cat. In your own time, just continue this motion of breath to movement. Now preparing to lift your right arm off the ground and left leg off the ground for a bit of a core exercise, trying to keep as straight as possible, so one straight line from ankle to wrist. Inhale to tap knee to elbow, and exhale to extend. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, crunching in, exhaling, extending out. One more, inhale and exhale. So now grab your foot with your hand if you can. This will be a good quadricep stretch. Otherwise, just hold the previous pose before coming back down to the ground and doing the other side. So this time, left arm and right leg off the ground, trying to have one straight line through the wrist to ankle. Inhaling, knee to elbow, exhaling, extend out. Inhale, exhale. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Now looking to grab our foot with our hand, if possible, for a quadricep stretch and a bit of a back stretch as well. Otherwise, holding the previous position. Now coming back down to the ground, back into our tabletop position. Just making any movements that you feel are necessary before bringing your right foot onto the outside of both hands, stretching out our left hip flexor, keeping up at the moment on our hands, not bending forwards but actually pushing forwards. Once again, remembering to breathe into the pose and breathe into the area of stiffness. Tuck your left toe under, lifting your knee off the ground and coming into a plank position, holding this for a couple of seconds before lowering our knees, chest, chin to the ground for cobra, keeping our shoulders away from our neck. Then coming back down, tucking our toes, coming to our first downward dog position, looking to create an upside down V. Make any movements that you feel necessary before coming to stillness, and then lifting our right leg up and bending it and opening our hips out to the side, rotating our ankle either direction. Bring the right knee to our nose and place our foot between our hands, lowering our left knee to the ground and stretching up, looking to our hands which should be connected together. Holding this pose for one more breath before coming back down and sitting back onto our left heel, stretching our right hamstring by slightly sitting forwards if you want to get a deeper stretch. Slowly untuck the left heel and bring the left knee to our left shoulder before bringing this foot over the right leg and just keeping it tucked. Then twisting by bringing our right arm over our left leg and looking behind us. These kind of stretches don't only benefit our body's flexibility, but also our digestive system. Slowly unravel from this position, coming back forwards into our low lunge before tucking our feet back into our tabletop position and then lifting our left foot to the outside of both hands, stretching our right hip flexor to balance it out on the other side. Get comfortable as we'll be holding this for a few breaths, so remember to breathe deeply from here. Now slowly coming up onto your back toes, lifting your right knee off the ground, then coming into a plank position, holding this for a couple of breaths, then lowering. This time you can have your knees off the ground for upward dog, otherwise just stick to cobra, rolling back to downward dog, finding a comfortable position from here. Breathing deeply in and out, resting your body in this position before lifting up our left leg and opening our hip out to the side. You can roll your ankles a couple times from here if you wish, before knee to nose, placing your foot between your hands. Right knee comes down to the ground, looking up to your hands, breathing from here, stretching out our right hip flexor even more, placing both hands back onto the ground, sitting back to our heel and folding forward slightly, stretching out our hamstring. Hold this pose for a bit longer before we move to our next position, sitting on our bum and lifting the right foot over the top of the left leg, pulling this in tight to our body, and then twisting by placing our left arm over the top of our right knee, looking backwards behind us. You can inhale and exhale to twist slightly further if you wish to deepen this pose. Now, coming out of your twist, placing the foot on the ground again, coming forward into our low plank position, and then back to our tabletop position. Now coming into downward dog once again, stretching our toes and ankles off if we wish, making any movements that feel good. Remember to try to keep that upside down V position, and slowly walk into our hands, feet slightly apart, hip distance, and grabbing opposite elbows for our ragdoll position, relaxing our lower back, stretching this out, maybe adding a generous bend in our knees to allow for this. Otherwise, if you're super flexible, you can keep your legs straight. Inhale for flat back, exhale to bend forwards again. Inhale, flat back, exhale, fold forwards, Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forwards, and then sit down in our yoga squat, Malasana. Elbows between our knees, hands, palms together. Stretching out and loosening our hips, using the force of gravity, not straining at all from this position. Couple more breaths before we're going to sit back down on our bums, feet together in our butterfly legs, holding and folding forwards. You can bend your back as much as you like in this pose, and I encourage you to have a loose diamond shaped position with your feet and legs, enabling a slightly deeper stretch that is possibly more comfortable to sustain. Remember to rest your mind from here, returning to your breathing once again. With control, come out of this pose, sitting back up and placing your feet back onto the ground, windshield wipering your knees side to side in your own time. Just creating space in your hips and warming them up again from that still position. Now grabbing your knees, place them up into a boat pose, engaging our core. If you can, have straight legs, but don't let this detriment your upper body posture. Now low boat, making our legs close to the ground and our body close to the ground. Back up to boat pose or higher boat. Down to low boat once again. This is quite a core exercise, so if you are shaking, that is fine. Now lie back onto the ground, grab your knees and lightly roll side to side, just massaging our lower back. Now placing both feet onto the ground, preparing for a bridge pose, grabbing our hands for our basket clasp if we want to go slightly deeper, with our hips in the air as far as possible. Of course, remembering to breathe deeply from here. Hold this posture for a couple more deep breaths. Gradually lower yourself down, starting with your shoulders and all the way down to your lower spine. Then grab your knees once again, rocking side to side, massaging our back once again. Straighten our left leg and keep your right knee tight, possibly raising it towards your right shoulder. You can roll this ankle out as well, keeping the left foot flexed. Now bring this right knee across over your body for a twist, keeping your right shoulder on the ground. You can help the twist by placing your left hand on the outside of your right leg. Now gradually coming out of the pose, bringing both knees back to the chest once again, and then lowering your right leg straight out, left knee to your left shoulder, flexing both feet and possibly rolling our left foot. Now place the left knee to the other side, so your right side, twisting and keeping our left shoulder to the ground, possibly looking this direction. final breaths before we unravel from this position. Bringing both knees back to the chest once again. One final roll side to side before we place our legs and arms on the ground in a relaxed position for our final pose of Shavasana, resting pose, shutting our eyes if we feel comfortable to do so, breathing slowly and being present in this moment, enjoying your practice and acknowledging your feelings in the mind. I'll be leaving you now. Stay in this pose as long as you wish, and I hope to see you soon in another video.